7:08. I'll call to order the July 12th, 2017 meeting of the Weare Conservation Commission. I'm the chair, Andy Fulton. To my left is Steve. To my right, we've got Jeff and Bill. It's a full commission for us. A little bit later tonight, we have a public hearing for a prospective real property purchase. We'll hold that until 7:30, and we've got a few other items on the agenda. We didn't have a meeting last month, and didn't have a regular meeting last month. So we had a special meeting.
Right.
So that special meeting was on, what was the date on that?
May 10th?
No,
it was
June.
June 7th?
Do you have the minutes for that? Or?
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah. I did the minutes. If I emailed
Right, that
everybody.
sounds right. Wednesday, June 7th.
Yeah, that does sound about right.
I wasn't present on that one. I saw some notes from Mariah. What was the general feeling for how that went?
Great. Yeah, they just want to, we talked about pushing the schedule back a little bit, but other than that, things are real good.
We were headed out to do some assessments, look around, I think this month or next month. Kind of talked about a few properties and what they may be used for based on what we know. The trails existed, what potential was, and how many trails to help out.
Yeah. So they don't need anything from us for
I think I have everything they need right now, Steve,
For
as
right
far
now.
as
Yeah, I think so. I think they just want to do some recon.
summer
we did some good homework.
assessment stage.
And we'll take a tour.
Yeah, so I sent out draft meeting minutes. I think I sent those to you, Dan. Are you on the... Well, I just sent them to the Weare CC box. Are you getting that now?
I haven't gotten an email from
Yeah, you should get added to that. Actually, there's do you know who handles that now?
Probably talk with Mary about that. Or email her.
Yeah, I figured I'd catch everybody. Let me forward that to you. It's probably posted by now as well.
You did send draft emails.
Yeah, but I just sent them to the organizational box rather than to everybody, and Jen didn't get it because she wasn't apparently not receiving those. I'm gonna go ahead and forward it right now. Hope it's working. Alright, you should get it. Cool.
Alright, so emailing Mary to add Jen to the group meeting.
Smartphone. still kicking your butt. There would be plenty of there is too much there.
I actually don't even have one. I just swap services with my flip phone. I don't deal at all with it. It's a good tool.
At this point, not sure. Well, we don't know whether spending much time on a May 30th lot line adjustment is warranted, but got a list of things that accumulated in the mailbox. Anybody familiar or heard anything about this 18 Rockland Road? Is that the one we were working on? Or another one on Rockland Road?
No, that's something different.
Transfer station.
Close to it, I think.
Makes sense to me.
That's different, isn't it? No, this sounds consistent.
Is that one on the agenda?
Oh, that's the one at top, May 30th,
Oh,
2017. Planning board item.
See, that's the frontage right there. It creates a developable lot because it's got 10 acres.
Yeah, odd shaped lot. Existing dwelling to be removed. Proposed house, proposed well.
one lot now, or are there two lots already?
That's two lots, 72 and 73 already. Note number 8 is a 25-foot non-disturbed wetland buffer. Interesting on a plan that doesn't pick wetlands as far as I can tell. missing something here.
Parcel length? Opposed?
72 goes from 71,000 square feet to 437,000 square feet.
So one of those
So where's
yeah.
current parcel A? I mean, sorry, current 72 is what? Just up to here? No, that pasture area is a proposed common driveway. So it looks like this little area here is the pre-existing 172.
Some point to that.
Existing lot line to be eliminated. Looks to me like a noted without comment. Anybody have a comment worthy of after the fact mention?
No water, existing lots.
Nothing to mention. So it's taking one unbuildable lot and one large lot, turning it into two large lots. Getting rid of one existing dwelling, making it so that there's a spot for a proposed dwelling and then future consideration on the other lot, so a more valuable lot. Then we have a number of Wetlands Bureau items.
Cold Springs we looked at before.
Yep. I think that second one is Cold Springs. Also, the number 4 has been kicking around for a while now. That was the Collins Landing beach work. And there's some restoration and permitting after the fact that went on with that. Army Corps number 5 doing some bridge repair. And number 6 is a culvert approval. I didn't find anything much noteworthy in looking through those. Anybody want to look at anything closer? Basic FYI sort of deal.
We looked at the Cold Spring one. Looked at the Cold Road one before. The one with missing data. Missing information.
What number is that?
Dredge and fill on 3. Missing application. Town clerk signature.
It's standard dredge and fill.
Give me a note on the minutes.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I think you made a note on it in the minutes, right? So somebody did a signature.
What, minutes from what?
2 meetings ago.
Yeah. Maybe that's just a re. That's just returned. Let's see what else we have. This one came in a couple days ago, did not get on the agenda. Number 2 for the planning board is a July 10th lot line adjustment. William E. Russell, 682 North Stark Highway. Russell equipment there. Map 402. Lots 7.2 and 7.3. For the July 27th planning board meeting. Couple minutes before our public hearing. This abuts the Eastman. Straight lines being eliminated. Curved line added. Same owner on the lots. sure what that's about. This is all gravel, this is gravel. Gravel comes up through there. And it does put the gravel area around this shop on the same lot.
You actually have a house and a shop all in the same thing, huh? Industrial. I wonder if that's just pre-existing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's moving to 7,000 square feet. One to the other.
No wetlands. Nothing to say with that.
I don't think so.
Wouldn't matter anyhow, because it's not really doing anything at this point.
Yeah, both are built out.
What can I do?
Is there an outcome to that?
That's a no comment note again. Yeah. All right, we've got 7:30. And we're going to record our public hearing for the prospective purchase of about 29 acres in North Weare from Steve Colombo and Associates. We've mentioned this to the selectmen a few weeks back. We've put public notice in appropriate places. Nobody's in the audience to discuss anything or to share any comments. I saw, Steve, that we're going to look for some assistance on preparing the purchase and sale. And we're looking at assessed value.
So the, just for the record, we're looking at, both of them are on tax map 401. Lot 81 is 5.79 acres. It's currently assessed at $9,100. Lot 401, map 401, lot 79 is currently assessed at $37,000. The town's got it at 24.19 acres. So that's a cumulative cost of $46,100 for, it's just like a fraction under 30 acres actually. And that breaks down to $1,536 an acre, which seems pretty fair for land with some access difficulties. And then I think for the purpose of this public hearing, we'll just leave it open-ended if, we either use conservation or the town forest account. We have a appropriation for the town forest account that's approved for, was up over $100,000 this year, and the Board of Selectmen are the agents to expend, and then so we've got plenty under that. And then, as best I can tell, I got a balance sheet from Beth here on the conservation account, and that's got $130,000. Looks like a big slug might have gone in there from the land use change assessment. I think, personally in this case, I would recommend using the conservation on this one, and try to use the town forest on something bigger.
This 4178 that's the property we got a couple of years ago. So this 79 abuts it.
Yeah, so we've got a map of that. Oh, you have that map? Okay. Yeah.
So that's the
Seven- 70?
we got a while.
No, it's this one. This is John Chiampi's property.
Okay.
So it's
Phillips?
Yeah, it says, yeah.
Okay, so it still abuts it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or even more directly, it's what we bought from Loretta Phillips is
Right.
between the two lots.
Right.
So I believe this actually protects the entire falls.
Yep.
Right?
It and ties.
Crosses the falls.
We had 4 lots, immediate lots there. 2 of them did not abut the other 2. 2 are somewhat isolated, and this brings those 4, adding 2 more to it and into a single block. And I believe one up here, 77. I think we got that for 1,000 an acre or something like that. Back about 10, 12 years ago.
So what this is showing, these are already town lots?
Correct.
The orange ones are already town.
Okay.
The green is private, conserved,
Gotcha.
easement protected
Gotcha.
properties.
Well, that's huge then.
Yeah, starting to put that area together.
No, it's certainly worthy of using some conservation fund resources towards it. I don't think any of the other lots are designated town forest at this point.
No, they're not. So for the actual hearing part, all we need to do is just what we've done. We could close that and then have discussion on voting appropriations, I think.
A public hearing is kind of, yeah, kind of silly when there's no public here to talk about it.
Have to do it though,
Right. Okay.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely.
Steve, I had sent an email to you about restrictions.
Uh,
Are there going to be, what restrictions are added? And really what I'm looking at is,
Yeah, so like the process with any easement is to actually negotiate the terms of the easement. So we've done that as a commission in the past with other stakeholders. PLC, if we do something with them, has a template, and you can kind of add and subtract to that template. So, one example is Eastman, where there are stakeholders that just wanted to have it more, have no motorized recreation. Then, we actually bought an easement on Rod Wilson and Sean Hawk's property. That one looks a little bit different. I don't think it has a prohibition, and it has like this mandatory recreation clause in there. That unless something's like really going wrong, it essentially can't be shut down. That was kind of unique. So they're all different.
At what point
There's-
does that happen?
that would be under easement discussions with the land trust in the future. There are no promises at this point. We have, when we purchased land from Mrs. Woods, there's language in the deed that describes intended uses. That was before we were working with land trust and designating easements through conservation easements held by others. This was kind of early in the game, when Tom Carr was chairing. Since then, I don't know on any of these purchases that we've written stipulations into the deed.
No, so we have, with the PLC, when we did the Phillips track, there was a handshake agreement to eventually do, as we built up Chipmunk Falls area, to have an easement in there. Now, the kind of interesting thing is that person left, but it's all changed over, and then emailing back and forth, it was even like, on their end, they've kind of was surprised, but I guess probably my fault. Tom wasn't even familiar with some of the processes we've used, because in the past, PLC went ahead and got a assignable purchase and sales for us. His thought, things have definitely changed at PLC, so he has to go back to they have like a land protection board to get permission even to do it. What he sees is expanding the project. So they're not even in this project right now. Right now, we're just buying the land, and then, the bigger discussion, probably outside the scope of this, is a number of years ago we had a town warrant article to be able to put easements on. I think it was all the town forest and maybe both conservation and that. Because right now, PLC in the past wasn't charging. I'm not even sure if they charged us quite so much, but they're looking for like $10,000 per parcel right now for a what do you call that? Something fee. It's
Management fee?
no, they've got some name for it. Anyhow, it's like it's kind of their war chest for like monitoring and enforcement and stuff.
Stewardship fees?
Yeah, stewardship fee. So, if we're putting a bunch of different parcels, when I was talking to Tom, like, hey, why don't you ask about big picture for all the town forests, will they cut a break on that? It doesn't seem right for us to, for every little parcel, be giving them 10 grand. It's kind of exorbitant. But, the problem with, I guess it depends on how you see it, if it's a problem or not, but in my eyes, it's a problem. Problem with, like, town forest or conservation land designations by themselves is they're one vote away from being a parking lot, a school, whatever. And I don't think that was the intent. Ware's got a pretty strong conservation ethic right now. But you never know, 100 years from now what happens.
So what happens? The PLC, what is their role in this?
Right now, in this, none.
None. Okay. So, and is there any plan in the future? Are they stewarding this?
Yeah, I think so, because that original, Phillips parcel, they worked with us to get that. And then there's the bigger pitch, like I just said, I think we need to have that discussion as a commission with them to see, I'm personally not real keen on handing them $100,000 or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
to see if they'll give us a break. I do think there's there's value in having easements on these properties. But like I said in my email, in this personal opinion, kind of learning from the Eastman, because like they've got a person who monitors Eastman, right? Like just personal experience. I drove into the log land and it was a designated parking area, and they were, that person was yapping about that. They see like a Jeep gets up there in the woods road as an ATV. How are you going to be chasing your tail forever? And the problem is when the town signs up for that, by that agreement, you are supposed to go enforce it. We can't enforce it. There's no way for us to get up on Rattlesnake Hill and stop some person with a four-wheeler. Lesson learned. I would never recommend ever signing up for that again. completely unenforceable.
Um, what, I would certainly like to see, and there's really my main reason of being on this board, is not, when you say no, that's forever on that.
Yeah, and the easements, yeah.
And I think that it's, could be cheating people 100 years from now, or 200 years from now. Because you don't know, but what there'll be some electric hovercraft that could be used in it. And it could be construed as a motorized vehicle. When you say you can't do something, it means you can't do it. If you don't say you can't do it, the only way you can do it is through permission. And the state's pretty good about that. Well, I just hate to be penalized or penalize today's generation and future by saying you can't do motorized, because motorized has changed in a big way in the last century.
Hmm.
And it's probably going to change a lot more in the next couple. And the state of New Hampshire is pretty clear. You can't use something like that, whether it's a snowmobile or a ATV or whatever, without written permission.
Yeah.
Unless it's an organized deal like, snowmobile club. But even that club then would be responsible. But when you say never, it's a long time.
Yeah, so that, whether we would or wouldn't is incumbent upon, folks sitting here or anybody else who would join up and become part of the discussion should an easement go forward.
With Terry Knowles' piece, they were, there was PLC working on that, and they were very receptive to it once they read the law, how it works. To say that there won't ever be a snowmobile or a ATV or a Jeep on it.
But currently, I can tell you the areas used by ATVs.
There aren't many that.
Frankly, I've never heard snowmobiles back there, which must, to me, suggests, the routes are
Normally,
elsewhere.
Yeah, I suspect the ATVs
But-
you see are just locals getting from here to here.
Mhm.
You're never gonna stop them,
Yeah.
no matter how high you drop them.
I wouldn't characterize it as excessive, and to say it's local use. Currently, just other things about the property on that lot 79. There was a backcountry squatter camp there on that property, and there's still debris. The last hurrah with a house built of pallets back in probably the mid-90s. I think there's a station wagon in there, there's a camper in there, and there states of decay. I suspect the pallets might have fallen down by now. So there's debris on the property. Didn't suggest heavy living on the land, but it was, it was something that, some people's an eyesore, some people's a historic relic, and what have you.
Well, the plan for this property is to buy it outright without PLC's involved, right?
Like we're just talking about, right now we're discussing outright purchase. The kind of end goal handshake with PLC in the past, which doesn't seem to be remembered all that well at this point on.
Depends on their current interests, right?
Yeah, so they, Tom was going to bring it to their open space or whatever they're called, the committee that looks at
Land
this.
committee.
Yeah, but the eventual goal would be to put a easement on there.
But not for this.
Not for this public
purchase,
meeting, no.
right, 'cause we
Yeah.
have have a lawyer, the town lawyer draft up the purchase and sale and,
I think title pro would be, we would go through and the town lawyer would review it. Yeah.
so no expense now.
Yeah.
But at some point in the future for all the properties up there.
That's what we're authorized through that vote. I mean, all the, throughout the town, we're authorized that. Yeah. It's under the, purview of this committee, whether or not to do it on one, some, all, none, whatever.
And the idea is to get it out of that one road away from the parking lot.
Right, yeah,
Or airstrip or.
school, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
79, the larger lot has on the lower part a lot of new growth pine, on the slopes a lot of beech. I'm not, thinking about one town forest account versus conservation fund. It's not something that would automatically lend itself to management through harvesting or anything like that.
Is there, if it's owned by conservation, or purchased from conservation
Mhm.
funds, do we manage it as a forest?
I mean, so the town forest designation is specific to a New Hampshire RSA. And what that does is, if we go in there and do forestry, the money goes into the town forest account. If you went and cut conservation land in the absence, I think, of some town vote or something authorizing it to go back to conservation, it just goes into the general
General
coffers.
fund.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible to do it.
Oh, we would just vote it in the town forest, just put it on a warrant article. That stream's kind of right in the middle of it, sort of sensitive right around the falls there.
I was just
So, yeah.
wondered about, on a.
Yeah, we've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Eastman was bought as conservation and rolled.
And I think part of the deal on the two lots that were essentially abandoned, that we picked up the two long skinny ones, is there wasn't a ready spot to, with road access to pull timber resources out or things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty young forest still in there.
Yeah. And hopefully there are more pieces to the puzzle that fall into place. I wouldn't. I think it perhaps some boundary work using our town forester might be wise to have some blazing on some of the exterior boundaries, but I wouldn't anticipate a headlong rush into easement just yet either. Any other comments for recordation under public hearing section? And Bill, I don't think there's, between the four members sitting here, I don't think there's great desire to have all conservation properties exclude motorized.
Yeah, no, and I would never accuse you of that. It's, I think,
For the record though, this is kind of noted. Good discussion. All right, so there being no audience, no more comments from the commission. At 7:53, I'll call public hearing to close. And I don't think we need motions and such to do that. So we can say we held our public hearing, duly posted in the public domain. And we're looking for a response back from Naomi as to legal assistance.
I kind of skipped over that and made some assumptions. I hear back from her.
You haven't, or?
No, just go with title pro and have Laura review the stuff. Or Mitchell Community Group.
And so we'll have some
We've used them
assistance
before.
fees to pay out of the conservation fund to make that happen.
Yeah, so once we roll through a bunch of different things here and make an attempt at an easement. I mean, not easement, at a motion. losing my mind. All right, so initially I'd like to just make a motion that either Andy or myself are authorized to sign on behalf of the Conservation Commission a purchase and sale agreement and any closing documents for an overall cost out of the Conservation Fund of $46,100 for purchase price, closing cost not to exceed $4,000. That would include the purchase and sale, title search, title insurance. And as part of that $46,100, I would, include an initial deposit of, up to $2,000 on the purchase and sale agreement. So the overall budget would be $51,100 out of conservation.
I missed 1,000 on that. 46,1 plus.
Oh
4.
yeah, you're right. No, I added the extra. Sorry, that's $5,100.
Alright, $50,100
Yeah,
out of the conservation fund.
yeah.
No, it's 51, 46 and 4.
No, yeah, that's 50.
Not- not-
50, yeah.
Not 51,000, 50,100.
Because the purchase and sale deposit comes out of the overall price. That's where I messed that up. Yeah, so it's 50,100.
Alright, Steve's put a motion on the table. Any questions about that? Any comments about that? Do we have someone to second that motion?
I'll second.
Alright, we got a motion opposed and seconded. Any further cares or consideration? There being none, I'd ask all in favor to say aye.
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 All in favor.
The just FYI, in the past, when Laura Spector Morgan from Mitchell Muni has done work for us, we haven't ever been billed. If somehow we get billed, that just, I don't know, take it out of conservation budget, or I don't know that we will, but we'll just have to figure out where to pay it from if it gets pushed down there. Yeah.
Keep it running.
Yeah, hopefully we don't. But any event.
There's been chatter, but nothing's
Right.
come our way just yet.
Okay, so if everybody's good, then what we'll do is, I'll pass the information back to Sharon at Title Pro, who we've worked with in the past. Get her to write up that purchase and sale agreement. Have to get her in touch with Steve. Hopefully he's got the power of attorney all set.
Didn't he say?
He said he did, but hopefully he
Yeah.
does. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. Power attorneys are great, but you gotta have everything in it that's necessary.
That sounds good. Thank you, Steve.
Cool, thanks.
Did you send around what you had on latest accounting? Did you recently get that from Beth, or was that?
Yeah, did that go to everybody or just me?
I don't recall seeing it.
I just asked for it today. Yeah, it just went to me.
If you'd send that around to the rest of us, I'd appreciate it.
Alright, let's try the Weare. You want to just use the Weare conservation thing? Or you want to do
Yeah,
it
see whether, who kicks it through, or...
Oh yeah, sometimes you can't forward stuff here. Right?
And Bill, thank you for managing that edge of Bolton, edge of Wood Family Forest, mowing, brushing there. That's
I'm fixing the gate.
very helpful.
Yeah,
Gate
that's
work.
awesome.
To the best of your abilities.
Yeah, we collected another 10-cent interest on Champy Fund.
Alright.
We're up to 651.18. I do expect at some point to have a withdrawal against that, but we'll have to keep track and see just what happened with that. What was the? Oh, that was one for Berry Conservation Camp that we authorized, like, what, up to 300? 400
I
was it?
think it was
Alright, so just keep track, see whether that comes. So far, it has not shown as a withdrawal from the fund yet. The lock at Poor Farm, what was that all about?
So I ran into Paul at the transfer station, Dosher, and he said I'm just gonna pull up the map here. Yeah, so it ended up, remember we had that discussion about the road through there, and it was actually discontinued, apparently, so it was okay to have that lock on there. And somehow the lock came off. Not really sure what happened there, if it got cut, or if it's, just wasn't on there from the harvesting.
It was on there after the harvesting.
Yeah, so someone must have cut it.
Combination?
Yeah. So, anyway, that locks off.
Does Paul feeling like we ought to try to keep it locked?
Well, he said someone was up there cutting wood. Like with a pickup or something, it sounded like.
Yeah, is that something that occurs, public lands in these parts? We'll just figure it's public land, they can cut wood.
They might have just been cutting slash or something, who knows? Without seeing it, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people just assume like when utilities are being cleared and stuff, that it's okay to grab that, and it's really on private land 99% of the time.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of uninformed people around.
On our management side, are we better off having a lock on it than not?
I don't think so.
Ask Jeremy to slap one on it.
I think I already did.
Okay. So it's taken care of.
So what is the deal with cutting wood on public land?
We don't have a policy. We don't. I mean, we don't sell firewood or anything. So I would think, believe me, you don't want to get into it. Like Forest Service had dead and down permits,
That's National Forest Service.
right? But I mean, I don't know if the state has anything. You don't want to administer that as a town conservation commission.
What's our liability? Somebody gets hurt, all that kind of stuff.
No, it's a management issue because I mean, you think like dead and down has a habitat value to it. Cutting live trees, those live trees have a timber value to them. I'd suggest we don't have the time to administer something like that.
I suspect the lock gets cut again. I've got a few neighbors that were happy that the road is locked off.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets locked again, cut again, you just gotta look at beefing it up somehow.
Try to educate them whenever I can, but if I don't know what the answer is, it's not helpful. If they're not supposed to be in there cut.
No, nobody is.
Never have in the past, and no one's ever said anything.
Because nobody ever knew about it, probably.
No, it's, well, no. Power lines, when they went through into the power lines, people were up there cutting pickup trucks. They're not cutting trees down, they're cutting what's laying ground.
Yeah, I mean, technically they need to come to the town. I mean, the police could come up there and arrest them for stealing whatever the value is. That would.
So we don't condone and
It's back to enforcement too, so.
Someone could.
unless we come across something egregious where you're, you know, not forward leaning, probably trying to look to put signs everywhere saying you can't, you know, cut wood for your use on this land, it's public land.
So I need to put signs up. I mean, it's just, it's theft. That's all it is. I mean, if someone, you know, wants to, I mean, anyone can ask whatever they want to ask, right? They can come in here and say, can I cut this?
Yeah.
And you make a decision. It's kind of similar to tapping maples or anything
Right.
else.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's like you show up at the town hall here, you need a couple chairs, you know, can you help yourself to it? And,
Right,
you know,
right.
same thing.
Yeah. Let's see, jumping down to number 7 on other items. Jeremy, Steve, and I were at the June 19th Board of Selectmen meeting. And there was a question about our forestry practices on town forests, and we had pretty substantial discussion. I thought the minutes reflected the discussion fairly accurately. I think progress was made in having a better understanding with the board as a whole, and with the membership on the board, and just what guides our practices. But there's certainly some sharp questions and some comments from townsfolk to the effect of we're taking too much and are leaving a mess. I thought Steve and Jeremy did a fine job trying to educate about, you know, the mess that slash is, and how it's actually a good forestry practice, and good for the land, good for the forest health. We want to be sensitive to potentially more than we have been in some situations, to how the locals you know, use the skid trails and things like that. And I think we were back there when we found out that there were some things that needed additional you know, cleaning up, upkeep, maintenance work. We took care of it. But yeah, one of our missions and one of our continuing roles is to educate.
I heard very positive from it.
The town DPW director was supportive, and that was appreciated. I think we've seen you know, from prior rounds when folks the butters weren't happy about seeing blaze marks. I think people are understanding them better now than they did before. And it's you know, we're in an active phase, active management phase, and you know, when your phase continues on year after year, it's more of a program than a phase, but it starts out as a phase. And I think
It's not really a phase, is it?
yeah, we're into the programs standpoint, but it started out when Steve joined on the commission that the forestry work had been pretty minimal, the work on town forests for a few years, so
It's a long time ago now.
it has been a while. For sure, now we're out of the phase called the program. But it's a long-term, you know, we're thinking on the decades, not just year by year, on what we're trying to do for maintenance of town forests.
So the outcome, was there any pushback to, I didn't look at the minutes for the Board of Selectmen's meeting, but
I think we're going to make a little bit more effort to
what people might
have
do.
direct invites on the quarterly town forester reports that we get. And I think that was one recommendation that came out of the meeting, or certainly it was something that we offered.
For the purpose of letting them know where we're working?
Well, you know, if you don't understand the program, come join us as we have one of our regular conversations about it. And then we have our conversations about the next harvest, how the last harvest went, you know, how the management plans are coming, you know, the nuances of, you know, what are we doing with ash, what are we doing with hemlock, Are there any things that, we need to do differently? I mean, it's a conversation that we have on a regular basis that, if you don't either agree with us or you don't understand us, it's an opportunity to learn more. And I'm not sure, Steve, was there anything else out of it that was asked of us? I don't think. I think it was more like,
First thing I heard a comment from, again, neighbors that live in there, so they just cut Perkins Pond where those lots went up for sale, and it's like pristine, beautiful, there's not a strip of wood left behind, well, except for what they intended to leave behind. Why couldn't they do that at Forefront?
That's whole
Two
tree.
different purposes.
Yeah, that's we talked about that a little bit. It's hard kind of. I mean, there's a couple different things to understand. There's a type of harvesting equipment you're going to use, and then there's your silvicultural prescription, which is what you're trying to do to the forest, and then the type of equipment you want to use can impact that prescription. So because you're dragging a 120-foot tree out of there behind a grapple skidder when you whole tree chipping, versus if you use a cut, and then the ground impacts are greater because you don't have that slash on the ground that the skidder is going over, compared to like a cuts a length processor like we've used on a lot of jobs where that's actually cuts the tree, runs the whole bowl right through it, delimbs it, so the limbs are dropping right there. Then it's cutting the log lengths. The guy's cutting, to the end product, and then that's just going on the forwarder, which is carrying it up on a bunk instead of dragging it through the woods. So it's like the actual soil impacts are less. The slash gets pushed down because the equipment's running on it, but you do have all that slash on the ground that isn't necessarily comfortable to walk through for people, and that's where that's usually where people get hung up is when they're walking through the woods through slash. They don't like it.
But 20 years from now, that slash is not slash anymore.
Right, it turns into, this most of the nutrients are actually in those branch tips, and then even with a conventional job, when you're leaving some bigger stuff on the ground, that's good for amphibians. It's good cover, and for like small mammals, mice, that sort of thing. So it's like a mess can be, and actually it creates some microclimates even for like seedlings. Think about shade, that sort of thing. So, yeah, and we can make something look like a park, but it also ends up doing quite a bit different. I like whole tree chip for a real, genuine, full-blown silvicultural clear cut where there's not a stick left. And then usually, if I was doing that, usually it's to try to get aspen to regenerate, because that needs like wide open sunlight. So yeah, we went through those. But it's like, man, it's like years of just trying, it's hard to explain without all the audio visual and the, movies of it. And
well, Jeremy does a good job explaining.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, plus we've had all these field days, so people, they haven't shown up. I don't go to them just because I see enough of it. I almost feel kind of guilty, but there's only like so much time in life and got other things to do. I don't know, maybe we should probably attend more of those. Speaking of that, we got the bids in for, I don't think we had it on the agenda because I just neglected, I didn't realize he just sent that to me, but, for the, Fair and Pond project, Hardwick got it. So that would be I think Hardwick, that's gonna be a whole tree chip job. Yeah, he's got right there. Whole tree chip and cruise.
yeah, we weren't sure what was going to come out of that one.
That's what came out of it. So he said that he'll be sending the timber sale agreement to review and sign. So I guess if we're good with that, either Andrew and I'll sign that thing.
Do they decide whether they're going to go across the stream now?
Yeah, we weren't going across the stream. Yeah, it's just there's too much liability in trying to do that. The risk versus reward wasn't good.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, you know you messed that up. Someone's calling DES and you're getting a ticket out of it.
You've been down to see the bridge?
Yeah, I was down. I mean, we were there. God, I walked the dog up there not so long ago. Kind of dried up, right?
Did Benji get down there to let the water
I
out?
haven't been down there since, I don't know.
Yeah, it dried down.
Somebody must have been down in a pole.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't on the road.
Okay.
That road could use some work.
No, yeah, they're out in force. It's their turn.
Good for the month.
Yeah.
Do we need to vote or anything on there, or are we all set? Just one of us signing that? The harvest agreement?
I don't think we do.
Okay. I just forwarded that thing along to everybody.
Thanks.
Did you say poultry chicken?
Good thing I just forwarded the email to you. It's poultry chipping.
Poultry.
Yeah.
Poultry.
Yeah. It's a great big wood chipper.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken, yeah.
Alright.
That'd be hilarious in the minutes. I should leave that in
I'm
there.
like, I've gotta ask. I listened to the meeting over anyway, but I still don't think I would've got it.
Thank you. No, we're
That's great.
good for the double checks on those. Yeah. We've been for a little bit here, a little over a year, members of the New Hampshire Timber Owners Association.
Get the magazine.
Yeah, we get the magazines and I'm presuming $30 we're good for continuing our membership. Unfortunately, the first time around, both Jeremy and I signed us up, so we had double paid for that. So I'm planning to send an email to Jeremy to have us look into our membership status and make us good for it, and send us a bill as needed on it.
Which one's that you're talking?
Email to Jeremy Turner, Town Forester, about the Conservation Commission's membership with the New Hampshire Timberlands Owners Association. And that's something that is appropriate to cover out of our town forest maintenance allotment for the year. So let me send that along to them. Let's see the CCs on it. I think we're at the point where,
Jeremy?
yeah, any other business from
Yeah, let's minutes. Minutes. Couple things on minutes. Did we have a meeting in, I wasn't here in March, I think. We're missing
yeah, I
January.
saw that email. I just skipped over it.
January and March. The only ones we're missing this year.
I will look into it. Our minutes get, at that point I was covering them, so sometimes they're on this machine, sometimes they're on a different one. Let's see whether I
Do we want to review the minutes from last meeting and approve them? And any other one? I don't know which other ones are sitting in draft status. Or
can.
they're really short.
They're probably almost all of our draft status at this point. So what minutes are you proposing we address here, Steve?
All right, so the June 7 minutes. I'm gonna make a motion to move them to final.
You have a second on the motion?
Second.
Anything need to be,
Not as far as I'm concerned.
alright, I have nothing. All in favor of approving the June 7th minutes, say aye.
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 And abstain, aye, because I wasn't there.
So Jen, if you could just like delete draft off those and just forward them as final. Cool.
So, that's Steve, Bill,
Would that be 310 or 3?
Yes. 301,
Oh,
yes. And I'm the last one. What else?
So Jen, you had a couple sets of minutes that I ended up forwarding. I know we haven't done those, like the last couple that you did.
May and April?
Yeah, so can we move on those too? I would just motion that we move those to final status as well.
Yeah, second on the motion?
Second.
Steve's motion, Bill seconded. Any,
Jeff second.
I got it.
It's all right.
yes. Beautiful.
To your right.
Yeah. Any comments on those? There being none, all in favor of approving the April and May minutes, say aye.
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 Alright, I've got the the February meeting minutes right here. Those are in draft. I don't know
Yep.
7
They're
minutes.
still in half too.
if, yeah, that was on April 2nd. I'll forward those to you, Jen. I'd make a motion that we move the February minutes to final status.
Second?
I'll second that.
That would be Jeff. And I wrote up those. I'll be, actually I've got them right here so I can send them to final.
I got them right too. You want to send them to Jen or you want
Do you have them as a Word
to?
document?
I do not.
It's easier to
Okay.
change them as a Word document.
Yeah.
so.
Alright, so you go ahead and do that.
All in favor of approving the February minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
Aye.
So all we've got is just to kind of chase down if there was not a January or March meeting, we need to let Maureen know. We're all caught up.
Okay. Any other business? Being none, we have that final motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Do we need to do
Yeah.
like an MTL invoice? I'm just gonna sign
We just need to sign it, so.
that. Okay.
I got a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Adjourn at 8:23.